It's a beautiful morning here in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and I have the great pleasure of being here with Ellie Gilbert, and she's going to tell us about how she established this really just pretty garden here. Hi, Ellie.
Hi.
Thanks for having us here. It's
well,
so beautiful.
I'm glad you came. I'm delighted to be able to show you what I've done with my garden. We came here in about 2001 in a newly built house. This backyard was a virtual sand pit. It was nothing but sand, a steep and featureless hill, nothing on it, just a couple of scrub pines down there in the distance. And so we decided to start by building a patio. My husband's the hardscape man. He put in the patio, and then I started putting some plants around it. And it kept growing and growing. Of course, I love gardening, so it was a pleasure to be working out here and developing all of this.
But there was still the hillside.
There's still the hill.
Right.
And I knew something had to be done with that because I was really concerned about erosion.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was so steep and so sandy. So I started by, this was an undeveloped area, so there were a lot of woods around, and there were birch saplings growing all through the woods. And I dug up several of them, and I knew because they had a very widespread root system that might help hold the hill.
Oh, right.
So I planted several of them at the top of the hill, and they probably were only maybe 2-3 feet tall at the time.
And now look at them.
And now look at them, right? This is 18, 20 years later. They've really gotten huge.
It's a great backbone for the garden.
And I love birches.
Oh, yeah. All year round, they have something to offer.
Yep.
They're really pretty. So the birches were first?
They were first, and then I added the junipers because I knew they also would be good ground cover and help hold the hill. And just kept, there's my friend again.
Oh, the little rabbit.
Yeah, but not my friend anymore.
No,
this summer they've really been bad. But anyway, they started holding the hill, and then I began using some of the same plants I had here in the patio on the hill garden, and I wanted to keep some symmetry between the two gardens.
So you've got some repetition, and we have these these ground cover geraniums.
Right, those are Geranium Carmina,
and they do so well.
Yeah, they do. They spread, and they last quite a while. They bloom for maybe 3-4 weeks.
Oh wow, yeah. So that's really nice, and they're so tidy, and their leaves are compact, and it's just a nice. It's perfect on this hillside and in the border over on the other side as well. It's really pretty. I like the repetition, as I said.
Yeah, well, I tried to do that. That was part of my design, was to establish a pattern of plants and then repeat it all along the hill so that it would give us sort of a sense of rhythm.
It's really good. And the lines and the curves that you have are
I love.
Really,
I'm all about soft, flowing curves. No rectangles or sharp angles. It doesn't appeal to me.
It's just really a comfortable, pleasant place to walk through.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that you mentioned to me a little bit ago was the steps on the hillside.
Yes.
And so those were kind of also part of your husband's project.
Hardscape, right. We unearthed a bunch of stones when we were trying to build the patio and plant for some of these shrubs. And so we kept them in a pile on the top. And because the hill is so steep, it wasn't easy to get up there to do anything.
Right.
So he started by building the stone steps, and then that was the first place I started putting in some shrubs
and perennials
on
around
either side of it.
Well, I love the way they're sort of just nestled into the plants on the hillside. It's a really, really pretty look. So what's the secret to gardening in sand? What's your secret to gardening in sand?
Compost. Lots and lots of compost, because it's wonderful drainage.
Of course,
but there's not much nourishment in the sand. So my husband built me a compost bin, and that was one of the first things he put in when we moved here because he knew I would be gardening.
It's smart.
And so I had always a source of materials. And everything I planted, I had to build a hole that was much bigger than I would normally have, fill it with as much compost as I could so that the roots had something to grab onto. Yeah.
And then, so Do you feed? What's your feeding look like, or is the compost the feed?
No, I do a top dressing of compost around a lot of things, but I do use an organic fertilizer.
Okay.
And
once a year?
Once a year in the spring, just one feeding.
A granular, just sprinkle it around.
Just sprinkle it around.
Well, everything seems to be pretty happy with that program.
Yeah, luckily, yeah. This has been a good year for the garden.
Has it? Oh, good.
There have been years that, I don't know, something is always a banner year for a plant.
Right.
This year it was the lilacs and the roses. And it looks like this year my hydrangeas are going to do well.
Yeah, they look. We're a little before hydrangea blooming season,
right? But I see
but
lots
they look like they're
of
coming
blossoms.
on. Yeah, that's going to be a good summer. So then, in addition to your patio garden and your hillside, you also have a shade garden up at the top.
Up at the top of the hill, right?
Let's go take a look up there.
Okay.
So these are the steps we were just talking about, right?
Right.
I just love them. They're built in so nicely to the hillside, and the plants just.
Well, my husband
overlap.
asked for that specifically. He said, I really want you to plant some things that'll sort of drape over the edges because they do have sort of a box-like
when they were
form
new,
when they were new, yeah.
Right. And now they just look like they've been here forever.
Been forever,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
And so these spireas are blooming now.
Yes.
Is it gold flame?
Gold flame. And when they first start to leaf out, they are a fireball. They have these red-orange gold leaves that eventually turn a nice soft green. And then in June, out come these purple blossoms.
They're perfect.
Yeah.
They look terrific on this hillside. And I like the repetition that you have as you look down the
purple and
hill.
pink, those are my colors.
So you soft colors.
As a matter of fact, even if you go in my closet, you'll see lots of pinks and purples. It seems to be a color that I really love. Blue.
Oh, yeah. So soft, and it all goes with the house so well and the style here.
Yeah.
And then you have some pops of yellow with your.
Yeah. Well, sometimes those were a gift from a neighbor. We did a little exchange of plants, and it's an evening primrose, and it's kind of a cheerful color, I think, and it's especially by the green door over there.
It's really a nice pop of color, and as the season progresses, so we start the year with pinks and purples,
right, and around about July, as those sort of go by, out come the Shasta daisies, the white, my blue hydrangeas,
your coreopsis.
The coreopsis for more yellow.
And then some daylilies.
And daylilies, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's really, really
nice.
nice.
I did plant with the idea that just something would be in bloom all season long. And it goes all the way into October or late October. Because there are a lot of sedums, a lot of ornamental grasses, zebra grass in the patio,
right?
Penstemon here on the hill.
It's very sweet. Well, it's so well designed, and what a smart design. So you were also telling me about how you plan for the year, and you start a list.
I start a list. I'm already into my plans for 2022. Yeah,
so really organized and thoughtful in your design. I
at
think
my
that
age,
it
I have to
shows.
keep notes. I can't remember from one week to the other what my plans were. So anyway.
Well, your great organization and careful planning really shows here.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a great view of the rest of the garden from up here.
Oh yeah,
it's so pretty.
Yeah.
And so now you have your shade garden up here.
Right. We had all of these oaks. These were here, and they do provide an awful lot of shade.
Yeah.
So I decided that, well, the right place, right plant in the right place would be shade plants. So,
so you
lots
have a
of
mix
hostas, lots of astilbes, heuchera, painted fern, autumn fern, just a mix of,
some little
shade-loving.
And some little rhododendrons.
Little azaleas, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so pretty. And so what are some of the challenges that you face up here, besides sand?
Besides sand, yeah, the same thing, with that everything had to be planted in lots of compost. My other challenge is the fact that our irrigation system waters the lawn, but it only reaches the crest of the hill.
Just not quite enough.
Not quite enough, exactly. So when these, we're going through a dry spell, I have to lug a hose or watering cans and do all of this
all
by
the way
hand.
up to the top of
yeah.
the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something. So this garden is just meticulously taken care of, I can tell. What's your routine for that?
Well, in the spring, I hand edge all of the garden, and then we apply mulch. We usually get about 5-6 yards of mulch each year.
Okay.
Because I do have gardens all around the side of the house and an
Right.
island garden out front. So it takes a lot of mulch. But a good layer of mulch really helps keep the weeds down. And so it's just a matter of every morning I take a stroll through, pick up anything that's popping up that shouldn't be there.
Right.
And
That kind of keeps it manageable. It
yeah,
doesn't, you never
right.
feel
and never,
overwhelmed
exactly,
for the rest of
exactly.
the rest
Just
of the
spend
year.
an hour or two a day
Just-
in maintenance.
Just strolling
Yeah.
through and enjoying
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah, and that
dealing
is
with
my
little-
favorite time of the day is in the morning. I usually take a walk through, and it's so peaceful. And all you
Yeah.
hear are the birds chirping.
the light and the
yeah.
birds. Oh yeah, it really is just such a great view of the garden from up here.
Yeah, that's exactly why we put that bench here, so that we could sit down and take a look.
Smart.
And actually, it's a place where I sit down and say, oh, I think I need to move that, and I need to move those. That's
You're developing your to-do
Yeah,
list from up
exactly,
here.
exactly.
That's good. Well, now I want to try the bench. You noticed the foxgloves from up here that I hadn't noticed so much from down below.
Yeah.
Do those reseed for you, or
Yes,
do you replant them?
No. Once they're there, I make sure that I don't mulch around anything that I want to reseed.
Oh, okay.
So, but of course they're biennial, so whatever is falling this year won't bloom until another year from now.
Right.
But there's always some little rosettes that are developing.
Nice.
And
So you have the foxglove and the lychnis, or the campion.
the rose campion, and
campion.
also I have forget-me-nots that reseed heavily. So I always make sure that where they are, I don't put a heavy layer of mulch, so that the seeds have a chance to pop up again.
Makes sense. Well, Ellie, this has been just delightful. I've enjoyed.
I'm so delighted you came. I love to share my garden with people.
Well, it's so beautiful, and you're so interesting to talk to. We could sit here all day. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Jack from Garden Gate Magazine. I hope you enjoyed our video. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel and press the bell to get notified each time we upload a new video. You'll get content with useful gardening tips, design ideas, and how-to help for all levels of gardeners. Follow us on all our social platforms and visit our shop. See the list below. Thanks for watching.